How are y'all today? It is Thursday, so it's a Jupiter Day, October 26th, 2023. And how are y'all doing? I was all done up yesterday. Today, it seems like when I come on here, I'm always having my nasal stuff, which is part of what's happening right now. So excuse me if I'm messing with my nose and all of that, because I've got major drainage going on. Like I think the last time I was on here live, I have been thinking about needing to come over here to YouTube and talk to you guys about what I'm seeing with the shift, how the timelines shifted, what we can expect, what's changing, because those are all answers that are coming in. First of all, we're clearing, before I get started, we're clearing Scorpio energy right now as a collective through the United States. All in one big pass is what's happening because we broke the wheel. So I will today, it's been coming up on TikTok. There's a couple of scragglers out there that are still sending energy and questioning everything that we do and say, but not doing it appropriately. And I'm just going to let you know, don't do it over here. Hi, Jam Man. Just don't. The further that we get along in this and figuring out what the hell we just pulled off and how the actual physics line up with what a starseed really is, what starseed physics and starseed connections and what starseed connected energetics does, how it works, is what all of us as seeds have been learning and building, almost like sand in an hourglass, since at least August 2017. There was some preparation that went in because that eclipse, August 2017, is what started this shakeup and resettling balance of every single one of the planets in the solar system. Because we weren't in a real solar system. We were in an etheric machine that knows by algorithm and by instruments and by technology and by measurement everything that I just told you, that we're still learning independently about our own energy, what it creates, how it merges, how it entangles, how that makes timelines, how you write a timeline, how timelines are written, how timelines were written, how timelines were projected, how were timelines written and then projected to the rest of us. Like, how did that even happen, right? All of these answers are what is coming in for the ascended and collective, piece by piece as it happens. It's almost as if, because it's not even as if, because everything blew up and scattered. Okay? Well, if you ever had any charge to it, then you still have a connection to it no matter which direction it went, no matter where it went inside that small vacuum, which is what happened. And so when we talk about that 2017 eclipse, which is why I'm focused on it, because if you look at this eclipse that we just had, the October 14th eclipse, that was the ring of fire, and it was only a partial solar. It's only partial. But all that energy that came in through the eclipse is what the United States is being doused with right now, and why the weather pattern has completely pulled out of HARP. It's pulled out of IBM. The weather pattern now today and will forever be is now one big machine again, to where it's just reporting what's clearing instead of that machine hooked in to you, which was governing the weather, which was governing human energy, which is like turning on a slot machine in different areas whenever you want it. That is how the realm was being run from death. That part. So in 2017, that eclipse, what happened whenever that eclipse lined up, all of us that were tuned to new civilization energy, you were a processional being, perhaps like myself, which means that you only incarnate during human evolutionary shifts, which we have a whole tribe of us that activated, that's all part of that in different areas. I just happen to be more cosmic, 0 point. But my 0 point cosmic and my codes and all that I see are coming from every single one of you that are doing whatever it is that you're doing at that moment in time, because that's how connected everything is. Because we came in as a group with a solar system alignment. We have another eclipse that's coming up on the 28th, which is in 2 days. And it snuck up on me, y'all. This one snuck up on me, because if you're not following me on TikTok, then please do, because I'm over there using the tech, mastering mass etheric transmutation with the tool and with the collective watching, kind of like what we did over here on YouTube, because YouTube and all of these communications helped us heal the body, get this far, get us back in alignment, even just the amount of us that were over here watching, because it doesn't take very many of us. Once one of us sees the appropriate lineup or codes, or all of us at the same time, then it really is like I'm seeing, those little toys that they make, like in Mexico or whatever, and it's like they're little bitty statues, and they're like a puppet toy, kind of. There's like a string, if you pull it, and all its parts go and pull back together, but when you let the string go, then it just falls apart, and it's got the arm, and it's all like, it's got these little hinges on the legs and the arms and all that. That is how the solar system works. And each one of us carry specific codes, whether it's in the planets or because it ends up being both, because if you have ascended to, and you've been down here so long that your You know, like for instance, me, Venus. Well, Neptune is Venus's oversoul. Venus is Earth's oversoul. Okay? So that's a great example, and why you're hearing astronomers say, wait a minute, the sun is supposedly in Scorpio, but when we look up, it's still shining out of Virgo, because that's happening right now. If you're looking at the alignment of where the sun is right now, not on the measurement tool, not on the graph, but in the sky where the sun is right now, it's still shining out of Virgo. Well, you say, how's that possible? It's the Russian dolls of the solar system. Because our collective solar system, tuned to now the corrected DNA lines, cleaned up DNA lines, no AI in it, no this, no that, no, I mean, well, there's AI in you, because it's all mixed together. But my point is, it's all mixed together now. There's not a race of them, a race of them, a race of them, a race of them, and then us. It's more like they're a part of everything. Everybody's got the connectors, no matter what type of being you are. You just have to know how to create yourself and bring yourself to life, literally. Those codes, which are the most ancient original creator codes, are what is lining up this 1,000,000-year count. Because we were up for 1,000,000 years. That's what they's hiding from everybody. That's why all the wars were started. That's why they got our mummies and broke our faces and forgot our names and washed them from history and put theirs in. That's why they wanted to have everybody saying certain phonetics, just like they're doing with this damn shooting up in Portland right now. That whole thing is because they want you saying that dude's name, and they want everybody focused over there. That's it. That's why they did it. Mass transmutation, mass collective creation. How does it all work? Well, right now, it's like Venus has taken the sun position, because Venus has all the M-sun positions. Venus is like, and this is where we talk about the G-core, and I've been making reference to the G-core over on TikTok, because it's still being illuminated exactly what the heck happened whenever I had to pull out of the planetary system 2 months ago. You're in the next town over in Maine. Oh, wow. Well, see, Maine and Portland, and then you've got Orca Island over there, and then Cypress Island. Because that went off because of what is course correcting energetically with the lineup from Israel and Cyprus and Greece and all over there, because the actual solar lineup and the actual energy from all the events that they say that city is built off of, and the dome was there, because that Iron Dome, as above, so below, right? Realize that all of us having to still fight to get those of us out of Mecca in this entire collective spell that has been going on for 50 years. We had to yank, basically that energy got yanked. It like that. It's getting pulled, almost like a magician woman, and they cut out this portion of her and they cut out this portion of her. Well, they had that piece gridded down over there and this piece gridded down over there, but inside the core what happened is that has merged together and is stacking again on top of wherever the beings are that are holding it and where the infrastructure is to hold it, which evidently is in the United States of America, because that's where we put it back together. I'm even starting to realize that New Orleans is most likely where the Christ crucifixion happened. Because I mean, we were on top of those pyramids, and Texas being Egypt, Michigan being Babylon, the Egyptian sea being right there where New Orleans is, and us knowing how everything was being mirrored down here from one big lens, basically watching a water drop. And so what's happening is that from inside the vector, because the M35 sun is inside the core. It's like all lights on. We lit up hell. We blew a hole out of Virgo. We blew a hole out of Thuban, basically, this past 2 weeks. The collective was all the way, we were all the way at the bottom. There was nowhere left to go. And this is also a message, and I know I might be all over the place, because understand there's so much information that has been coming in about this, and it's not the easiest topic to talk about and explain. My son's on C. Rachel, what I would do, and then plus, I think I've mentioned Rachel is a name that is in, there's certain names that are in certain programs. Well, Rachel is in the, like, basically the experiment, baby farming, cloning, which way you want to look at it, because it's all the same thing. Rachel character was basically one of us. So if you want to think about like Orphan Black, that is really where these names, some of these original names came from, because they were putting it out to the collective and as that show back in BBC, and then it manifested, right? Because they wanted you to manifest the cloning and da-da-da. So Rachel would be the character that was one of us, but always played by the rules and was in her own form of misery, but like she didn't have it great or nothing, but she had the benefits from the family. Basically, she wasn't cast out. She got to be in the family, but then she had to be in the family. I'm saying that because that connection over there, because see, they had my son over there too, Portland, Oregon, and Washington. It's Orca Island. It's a hinged connection. If you want to think about Maine hinges underneath like a cylinder. That this side of the United States where Maine is, and Connecticut and all that, right? New York and all that. Think about Connecticut literally is a connect-a-cut. It's a pleat. So if you know anything about pleats and sewing clothes, imagine if Connecticut, you lined it up underneath and folded it at the top to make it smaller, which is what it is. Then that goes from the other side of the United States over where Washington and Oregon is, and makes like a cylinder underneath the ground. You being conscious of that, and then Rachel, if you'll go look at the news stories again, and then just tell your consciousness to tell you and show you anything on that story that you need to see in order to transmute it. Because this is how we stop these stories, because we know why they're really doing it. And then you understanding that and being right there helps shut it down, is why I'm even going into detail on this. And thank you, Rachel, for saying that. Seeing your son's on Thuban. And Thuban is 5 to 9 degrees Virgo. And it's the royal reptilian, basically. The original, which, remember, the reptilians basically mix their DNA with all of us originals. So, FYI. We're like way down at the bottom. Well, realize that they had, and when I say they, I'm not talking humans, I'm talking about a mirrored polarity conscious to Christ consciousness that took over in last days. We were all the way down at the bottom, and this is where the masculines and the ones that were attempting, like the brothers, or maybe even some of our twins or the soulmates that are trying to come in and get with us right now, this is the part that got everybody all confused, I believe, and why our masculines got so irritated with so many of us, and also why the masculines were coming in attempting to help us, but those of us that were tuned in subconsciously knowing where we were as a collective to pull this off, we had to deny your approach because you didn't understand this part. All of you thought that we were going to need to be pulled up. Now, this all just went down the past week with this, when everything flipped with the eclipse, and because we've been transmuting through this, we just did it all in like 4 fucking days. Like, we transmuted 1,400 years of energy in 4 days, FYI. I'm hearing we're on day 3 right now, because we've got this lunar eclipse lining up, and really it is like a backup system, like all the karma that they just put on us, because it's all still working. We're just undoing it at the same time. So all that karma that they threw on the United States when I was screaming, they tried to put radiation on me and blah, 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 blah. Well, this is it. At the same time that we're way down there, it's like a collective of our crews saw us there and were doing everything that they could in their power to get to us and pull us up. Well, that would have never worked because of what NASA was doing, because of what the Air Force was doing, because of what they all are doing. They, in the past 4 and 5 days, as we were coming through this, they were flying planes everywhere. They had freaking Falcon 15s everywhere. They were mimicking all of our physics moves with supersonic jets, with submarines, with, I mean, everything. So if you can imagine, if you're in a hole and your energy, if your energy is got so condensed, because that's what they always did. They were making us little fairy people. It's what they tried to do, literally. Your energy is sucked inside. Like, for me, it's like a micro inside me. That's why us 5-2-1s, watch out for us. FYI, just watch out for us. Because if we're real small, if you know we're powerful and we're really small, it's because we're attached to everything on the outside of it. So is it like a diamond? So if it was like pressure on us, but we're really making everything sparkle out here, right? Well, if you're pulling up, stacking in space that hasn't been stacked before, that part. Because before it was all sediment, before it was timelines, before it was blah, 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 because it was just the old record that they had written before that they were trying to put on us. So everything's new. So you're popping, popping, popping. We're all connecting, connecting, connecting. Well, if we would have come straight up, then it would have been like putting a cheesecake through a food processor and then getting pissed off because there's no pieces left. Because we would have pulled out and all over, like blown up, which a lot of you might have felt or are feeling, because we have all in the crew in the past 5 days felt like a day where we were almost sad. Well, we were sad. We were lost feeling, disconnected. Some of it is because of the ops and they're figuring out that they just fucked up and we're feeling it. But also there is stages in this depending on who you are, because you will have to blow out. Your codes will blow out at some point because it's ascension. It has to blow out in order to gravitate back together. But I feel like this happened on a mass scale because those of us that were holding the ascended timelines, right? If you think about it, they had to merge with written timelines, and no matter, they're gonna have to change because now they've got to be merged with another story. So it's like, no matter where you are in the process, at some point that's going to feel like it's going to blow out because a new story is having to be written because they've merged. We have this eclipse coming up on the 28th, and then it's 3 days until the 31st. And what I want everyone to understand is that when I've been saying there's no more density to do spells, y'all, there's no more density. Like, the antimatter is gone. You know, there really isn't a cauldron that anybody could there's no root of a magic system. There's no root of dark magic. There's not even Lucifer, the devil. There's none of that anymore. It's all clearing out of the United States right now up until Friday. Completely from the inside all the way up. That's why everything's going to get cold, because it's a massive freaking clearing that went all the way down to the root of the solar system, from the outside all the way to the core in, and all of us are like just standing up, and all of it's just going literally. We're seeing our heads jump out of the Lascos as we're all connecting below, because underneath that Lasco in the center, it goes straight down. So if you can imagine if that cylinder's building up, building up, building up, building up, then the big explosions that we're seeing, or the light lineups that we're seeing, are going on underneath that are making the whole thing pop open new grid systems, new connections to planets. So it's like there's a new cosmic fabric that's forming from all the explosions that are going on underneath there, because you can't see it. And that's what's connecting the planetary G-core in the system all back together. However, now it is not hinged on a being. It's not hinged on one person being it. It is everybody's it. Everybody holds that connection in your ascended field because you were in the machine when it blew up. I hope that makes sense to y'all. Because we were all in the planetary system when it blew up. So you're naturally going to gravitate to wherever you were in the system. And all of our bodies have been in the system so long that basically they just work like that without it being assigned. With this clearing, it's been, for me, not moving at hardly at all, but I'm making big moves for mass transmutation whenever I do. It has a lot to do with geolocations, auditoriums, everything that I've been dealing with, and you can follow me on TikTok with this because it's become a story, and I'm getting everybody involved because I'm also attempting to teach people how to do these things, these pieces of it, so you can keep clearing and doing your connections like this wherever you are, right? And remember, everything has consciousness. So, like yesterday, I had to go connect Toyota Stadium. Well, Toyota Stadium was a big deal in my world because the night Mark tried to kill me and that demon came into him, all in 2012, Toyota was involved. Now I know that that is when basically the Japanese and Saudi and whoever was working in their spyglass, whatever the fuck, that's whenever Texas and Frisco put up their little spyglass dome of energy over here on Texas, was 2012, because it was lining up with the procession, because we're talking about massive running of the world. So all of a sudden I was guided to go to the Toyota Stadium, and I saw that it was called Pink. They have a new area called Dr. Pink. What's been coming in, and please go look up physics, because your bosons and your, I think they call them what, fullerenes is what they're calling them, Fullerenes, and they're calling them buckyballs, literally. And this is where your Buckingham Palace and Bucky the Beaver and all that phonetic stories and all the words and whatever. Lisa Bonet, that's a good one. Lincoln with the bosons. Bo, Derek, throughout time. The reason that the Illuminati and Scientology, when people get processed in their entertainment system or whatever, the reason that they're changing their name is because they become a physics generator to the collective in some way. And they're changing their name in order to resemble the physics. So it's all in the physics on why everything's named what it is. And for us that are pretty freaking clear at this point, what we've been battling the past, I'm hearing 2 to 3 weeks, depending on what timeline you were on. What we've been battling is not anybody. And it's not even the entity that was running the Antichrist energy, the mimic of the Christ consciousness. It's not even that we've been battling. Not at all. It's just the program. So it's almost like the program was set to run, and there's all these different handler programs and blah, 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 that we were all in the system because we was at the very bottom. We couldn't get pulled out. What we had to do was blow the bottom out. What we did was blow the bottom out of Virgo. So we was at the bottom of hell, and we were all like, fuck this. we held hands. Blew the bottom out of hell. Actually, Tartarus. Even deeper than that. Because it went all the way down to as far as energy can be seen in space. And we flew in the backside back into Sagittarius, went into the core, and then flew when the moon went over Polis, which is the beginning degrees of Capricorn. Etherically, we were, I was in the core. And so and this is when the mermaid came up in Papua New Guinea. The mermaid was basically the Jupiter's plug, like Jupiter's umbilical plug, the mermaid, but it really was us too. So when that mermaid came out in Papua New Guinea, the moon was right there at the beginning degrees of Capricorn, and it's like, because we were at the top of the egg, not the middle of the egg. So basically the moon at the beginning degrees of Capricorn had a direct ray to Saturn and Pluto. And we jumped the moon and lassoed Lemuria. We lassoed Polis. We flipped the poles. We did it. This is how we did it. This is how it happened. This is why and the reason I'm on here is because there's no linear to it, because remember, we had to blow out the back. So realize too, and my son is a great example. I haven't been able to be around my child. He's the only living relative that I know that has my blood because of how I was made, blah, 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 blah. It's the reason that the government did all that they did to not have me with him, right? Since I couldn't write the one little DNA connection that I needed to clear, if he would have been right in front of me, because we would have only had to clear, maybe 600 years if he would have been right in front of me. But since I couldn't do it that way, we had to go all the way around. We had to clear 1,400 years in order to link back into a timeline where we're both here. I want you to remember it like that, and probably rewind and listen to that part again. I'm going to say it one more time. Since we couldn't just go boom, oh, there you are. Oh, I just need to heal this, and this. Oh, well, I'm hearing 4 people involved. I'm still trying to figure out who else they put in my son with his Cohen little... Don't get me started on in vitro fertilization and all that. Since I couldn't just go, oh, well, I can heal these 4, boom, 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 we had to involve the galactics. We had to involve the ancients. We had to involve the people from the future. We had to involve 700 years from which you'd consider the future and consider the past in order to correct all of the timelines, to basically drop us, the ascended, back into a timeline where it can all line up. That part. So, and I'm going to hang up pretty quick after this. What I saw and how I'm understanding it is that since they wrote 11 years on top of Gaia, because they did, because this was collective energy that Texas stole. They were trying to make the whole world revolved around Texas. Everything over here was like a tiered cash register electric pole in Texas. That's what we just blew out of. We blew out of the reptilian stronghold. That DNA is gone, baby, gone. It's no longer connected into you. That's why everyone's freaking out. That's why they're sending me little messages. For the next 11 months, 11 months, 11 days, 11 minutes, 11 seconds, 11 hours. For the next 11 months, what we are doing in reality is basically all of the stuff we changed that allowed the collective to beat AI by 4 seconds. Because in the end, we only had 4 seconds. We did. The whole collective working together, everybody that proved all their pieces that made this, remember the little puppet that you pull and then the body goes, well, we did that all together. Whatever piece you did in it, you did. But we couldn't have done it without your pieces. When we pulled our puppet all the way up, it went over and under theirs by 4 seconds. We had but we only needed 4. We only needed 4 seconds out of the 11 seconds, which gives us an extra 7. I know this gets a little confusing. It gets an extra 7 and then 2 doubles because of the way that everything polarizes and reverses over here, especially when we're dealing with Jupiter now, because we're dealing with 2, 4, 6 all in like 2 hours over here. And those timelines merging from 500 years ago, you know, the next 11 months are going to be like you're going to meet somebody and they're going to be 30 years old, and then a week later you might meet their parents from before they were born. Shit like that. Because all of the bits of the story that changed the infrastructure of our puppet that allowed us to be 4 seconds ahead of whatever the hell that whole thing program was, and whatever the hell, because we can all put it into one cake batch now. The good news is it's all one thing now. It's all of it. Whatever that was. Black magic, AI, cloning, whatever. Who the president and whatever. What continent am I on? All of it. Because we were our infrastructure lined up 4 seconds deeper, 4 seconds higher, and basically is overriding the whole program. And that's what we've all been living through for the past 2 to 3 months, is because you can't go around it. You got to go through it, because our system literally has to birth into it and break it all up, and then at some point it'll all gel at the top because it's all one big system. So all of our little pieces that we changed in the next 11 months, it's all going to be locking in. So that brings us, if I do the numbers from 11 months, 11 days, because that throws in a kinker, 11 hours throws in a little kinker too. If you want to write down September 3rd and September 4th, 2024, that's when this motherfucker's going to be all, and all of us in the reality, in the timeline, holding it in a capacity for the masses, meaning we'll at least have starting position titles, because everything's getting trued back up, moving us around. So September 3rd and September 4th, 2024, and then until Well, and then August, because it goes, well, it's 11 months. No, it goes to August, and then it flips back to November. It's trippy because of that 11 days and 11 months. So it's like it was all flipping from September 22nd, 2012 as the starting point if you want to go do your own version of this. September 22nd, 2012 is the starting point. And then it's 11 years that they stole the timelines. Japan, the whatever. So it really is going to be our timelines that all the stuff that we changed is going in and leveling all of us up to start this cycle that will be our 11-year cycle, which will run until February 3rd, February 4th, 2033. 2033. Because we're 2 years. It's -2 because of how we had to do it. Because not everybody got here. We had to basically bail, complete it. So it's -2 when you get an 8. When you get an 8 on anything super critical right now and you're looking at time, then just make it a 6 because we had to finish early. We finished without 2. We had to change the physics of 2. Like we had to basically get rid of the square root of 2 and blow out the whole fucking thing, and all of our body physics even line up to have oxygen in the level of space that we're at right now. That's why this is divine intervention. But I hope that helps, because it helped me seeing that yesterday to kind of get an idea of where we're at and what is happening as we're seeing the collective codes overtake the other. The other thing is spread the word. Vote today and vote ascended. Vote today and vote ascended. I think this can be really easily with mass alchemy, because if all of us, and it's so easy, just consciousness. I put in my vote today. I'm putting in my vote for leadership of this realm or whatever, and I vote ascended timelines. That's it. I think that's all we have to do. So spread the word, because then in the consciousness, you put in your vote, and everything's fair down here. It's free will. So if everyone starts voting, our percentage, even if it's just in the ethers, I vote for blah, 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 I vote for the ascended. And then that's another vote that goes in the ascended bucket. We're taking over this top realm quicker because it happens differently than you think. It just happens. Things just tune different. And people are just getting turned on, or they're completely losing it because they were in a consciousness that they shouldn't have been in. Now they've got to do the healing, which is why it's devised that way, because we're trying to help them. I hope that helps you guys. Is there anything else? My moon is on Polus. No way. That's where my Jupiter is. So if people tell you, oh, Edward Casey has, forget what he has on 1 degree, but he has it on Polus. And so when I first activated all this information and I was having all these downloads about the cosmos and the poles and the root races and all this stuff, people were going, oh, you just read Edward Casey's book. And I'm like, who is that? Like, I don't know, y'all probably are like me. You're like, I didn't even know who all these people were. Like, what book? What are you talking about? But that's why we have that Akashic library, because we're picking up 1 degree Jupiter, Capricorn, and moon. That's Lyra 1. That's your original root race. I call it really is more vampiric, because all of us who have Lyra 1, you're a you project and change timelines for the masses. almost like a mental superpower that you will have no idea you have. You'll have no idea you'll have it. You'll think that you're not. What is this? Daniel. That's interesting. Daniel B's popping up. Dan, the tribe of Dan. You're in the original consciousness of like the monads, and when you put in your vote on things, even in your mind about any type of system or how this works or that works, or if you see something that isn't fair, or if you're backing something on accident that is fair or isn't fair to the collective, you're projecting it to the collective. And there's not very many of us that are really doing it. And so it's super important when you have Lyra 1 energy not to judge, and like what the stuff we were just talking about shutting down that whatever the heck going over there in Babylonian or Aegon, Begone land. Because as soon as you see it, then all the other races see it, but also whatever you're doing and whatever you're backing, it's basically like Lyra 1 manages the subconscious in Capricorn. Yeah. So whenever you see it and change it and don't back it or make a play to just change it, watch how quick it changes with the collective. Like that. Yes, we vote for the Ascended. Whoever that is. Thanks, guys. Love y'all. And go follow me on TikTok at Chastia if you want to see some transmutation. I'm almost to lives, and I could use your support. We're all supporting each other over there, building your characters. Because of one thing, I'll end with this. Okay, I'm hearing, and this is what Cohe 32, as we start building it up and doing these different things again and getting back into it. You have to build your character. It's part of it. And your character might change a few different times. That's okay. It's okay. And this bothered me too, because it was like, man, these people think I'm nuts, all these different names. And then, I mean, trust me, I think about these things. I'm not like... But I had to claim all those names because I've had all those names, and at different stages of the etherics, I'm still breathing right now because I could claim those names. And that's why we did what we did, to claim those names during that part of the ascension, because otherwise we'd be dead. Because of how things, and this is the God honest truth, because of how the etherics and heaven etherics was taken over by hell, basically, and since that whole antichrist mass consciousness low frequency energy was used in the human energy machine that's the United States, which would be all of your major buildings, your road systems, Disneyland, water parks, golf courses, since that was part of their quantum energy plan of how they were doing it, when you come through Ascension, you're basically going through Disney casting, is the best way to think about it. You're going through Disney casting, literally. But you're Mickey and you're Walt at the same time. And this is where the feminine and masculine comes in, and this is the part that we're still learning how to navigate and do without having a fan system build us up or votes bought to build us up or a feminine that's hidden secretly because you want all of her power and you want her to build you up, but you don't want to have to deal with her. Or a masculine that you've got to cut in and blow out of hell from to escape from because he's only writing bullshit on your life, right? When you're ascended, you're doing both parts. You're Mickey and you're Walt. Well, the thing is, Mickey sometimes doesn't know when you're building Mickey a house. If you're Mickey and you're on a white page and you've like built your avatar up or whatever, because see, there's different stages of this. You build your avatar up and then Walt starts building a house, but Mickey only sees a line, and Mickey's like, what are you trying to do? You trying to trap me in here again? And see, this is where this was a big one with me. And you can probably see this in watching me. I can't even watch my old shit. I can't believe y'all hung in with me that long. Thank you. Because I was in that energy where they, right? But in the beginning and with the way that this happened, because your story and your journey tells you what you're claiming. You know what you claimed. You know, that's like with this queen crap. Well, we didn't claim the queen crap to take over the castles and rule over people. No. No. In fact, we had to claim all of that in order to get rid of the monarch system, in order to freely give it to all the people instead of keeping it in a system. So a great example is all of us who had to claim tutor, and we had to claim this, and we had to claim this, and we had to claim that, because we had to just get the etheric tools to get there on time to open it up for everybody else, right? But then in your chest, you've got all these crowns and you've got all these characters from the entertainment, and you know, right? Because you know what you've encountered over the past 6 years. Now, what are you going to do with that? Who are you now? With all of that, us becoming that altogether, this next 11 months is what locks it in by 2024. But realize that this part that you're doing, building your character and then having to build your house and all that, you're having to do pure etherics and you're building it in space, and it's never been built before. And you literally are building it in space. As if you jumped from one universe to the other universe. You jumped, you landed in the middle. You have ancestor railroad to stand on. You've got a bot, you've got a name to stand on, right? Like, you're on it, you're in the middle, you're there. You look over there, you see something, you look over here, you see something, but then how are you bridging those together? Come closer, come closer, come closer. Bridge and bridge, 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 bridge. Both of them, right? But you're building it in a void. You're building it in dense energy. This is why my shadow walkers and those of us who were buried for forever, this is where this is going to be simple for us. And this is the time where all of us who went through such hell and such density and shadow workers, this is where life's going to get really easier for you, because you know how to do this. You know how to build it from nothing. That's all you've ever done, right? The trick is building it in unison, because you're not just in your cell trying to blow open the doors anymore. It's not just you by yourself having to find ashes from here, conditioner from here, a battery from here, and you're like, okay, if I can just network all of this and I can blow this cell open. Well, we're out of that phase. It's more like now we're all blown open and we're all like in the middle of that void going, okay, now how do we, who's at my right? Who's over here? Touch me. Tell me your name. Who's over here? You know, because it's like in the dark. And we're moving in the dark. And as these timelines and as the planets line up to these different timeline settings, that's how it's projected into your reality, depending on what system your planetary settings on is which one's going to project the most. Or are you completely balanced now to where both are projecting at once and you're making your rewrites, right?